AMD is actually one of my favorite semiconductor stocks that I believe is sitting at great valuations right now and has numerous growth opportunities. Now, I don't want to keep your time hostage and I don't want to waste your time. Quick, just looking at PE ratio forward and forward 1 years, we can see AMD for the next 12 months is trading at PE ratios of 24. Forward 24 months from now or 2 years from now is sitting at 17.48. I want to say I don't think I've ever seen many semiconductor stocks that can grow with the AI space. And I'm not saying this is the next Nvidia, but that can grow and with a 2-year PE ratio of 17.4. So on today's episode, I want to kind of take a closer look at why I believe AMD is bullish right now and why I don't mind holding this stock. Before we go any further, make sure to hit the thumbs up, make sure to hit the subscribe button, check out the pinned comment for a special offer at fool.com/Jose, and more importantly, check out my free daily semiconductor newsletter, whatthechip.happened.com. The link is down below. So let's get started.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
All right, so just a quick history for me. AMD is probably one of my oldest holdings. I've been in the AMD for a very, very long time. So even though the stock didn't move last year, right, we can see in the past year, the stock was actually down 18%. And from its overall peak, the stock is down roughly 42%. If we look in a multi-year time base, this stock is doing really, really well. Now, another thing that I want to say is AMD is my second biggest position and my first biggest position is Nvidia. I by no means believe AMD is the next Nvidia. I also don't believe AMD is going to reach $1 trillion market cap anytime soon. Right now, sitting at a market cap of $197 billion. But just because it's not the next Nvidia, it doesn't mean it can't outperform the market in the long term of things. And I believe AMD is going to be one of those that might give us some crappy years like last year. Maybe even this year might be crappy. But when looking at it in the long-term mind frame and the long-term investment, I think AMD will be one of those stocks that will completely shatter the S&P 500 and the other kind of indexes. Now, the first thing about AMD that gets me really bullish is obviously their MI300, and maybe not necessarily the MI300, but their AI accelerators. And I don't believe they are ever going to take a much market from Nvidia, and they're not going to dominate in that space, at least not anytime soon. Because the AI space is growing at such rapid levels, even if they lose revenue share, they can still grow revenue because the market gets bigger and bigger. And I believe that's going to happen to AMD. I think the market believes that AMD is done for and this is game over for the stock. Many people are saying AMD is the next Intel, but AMD continues to innovate. Maybe it's not fast enough, but it is continuing to innovate and continuing to release new products. I mean, if we take a closer look at CES most recently, AMD is showcasing a lot of consumer products and a lot of business and client markets as well, client products as well. So the one that gets me the most excited is on CES, they announced this kind of partnership with Dell Technologies, where Dell Technologies is going to be shipping AMD's Ryzen AI Pro processors, and these are going to be more commercials PCs for the business market. The reason this is very crucial is because while Dell Technologies has definitely had AMD's CPUs in other products like their servers and kind of their consumer laptops and desktops, this is one of the first times we're kind of seeing it kind of in the enterprise laptops. And this is, if you're working for a company, if you're working from home, they usually provide you with a laptop. And usually that laptop is a Dell Enterprise. And if that Dell has usually tend to hold an Intel CPU. They never had an offering of kind of an AMD CPU, but now it seems like they're bullish on AMD's CPU solution because we are seeing kind of that weakness with Intel. So I believe that could be a good sign. If companies like Dell are bullish on your product, then I believe one as an investor should also be bullish on the product itself. In CES, there were other cool things outside, but it was mainly in the CPU and consumer market. Nothing that I want to say was extremely revolutionary like what I believe this Dell partnership is going to be like. I do believe this is going to be a strong push for their revenue growth in the upcoming quarters. Now, the other ones, we can see that AMD is definitely taking market share in the consumer space, so pretty cool for them to announce that. Unfortunately, AMD didn't release a new GPU in the consumer market, but AMD right now is not really combating much in the GPU space. AMD makes most of its revenue in CPUs and is benefiting from the AI accelerator like the MI300 and the MI325. So, in forms of valuations, I think with AMD sitting at forward 1 year, so for the next 24 months, PE ratio of 17.48, I believe that's personally pretty cheap. And that's also that recently we have been getting a lot of expectations and a lot of downgrades for AMD. So a lot of this is pricing AMD like this is game over, which I don't think is the case. So AMD, well, I don't believe is going to be like a great year this year, maybe because of the continued domination of Nvidia. I think looking in the long time frame, AMD is going to be one of those positions that I am going to be happy to be buying right now. And the perfect example of kind of that negative sentiment is just a few days ago on January 8th, AMD stock slumps after double downgrade by HSBC on AI revenue concerns. So they are reducing their price target from $200 to $110 and reducing from a buy to a reduce. That is crazy, right? Because it's buy, hold, and then reduce. So that's a double downgrade just on ratings alone, which created a lot of negative sentiment for the stock. The main reason is they believe that the MI AI accelerator chips are less competitive than previously expected, and they are reducing their overall revenue on AI accelerator chips from $12.3 billion to $8.1 billion, which is well below the consensus of $9.5 billion for the full year of 2025. Now, again, it seems like the market right now is only pricing AI growth. And again, even if AMD in 2025 does about $8.5 billion in AI data center revenue, right, that is already $3 billion higher than it's expected to do here in 2024. Right, in 2024, we're expected to do about $5 billion in AI revenue. Here in next year, we're expected to do 8.1. So an extra $3 billion. That's over a 50% year-over-year growth just on the AI accelerators. The other things is we are seeing kind of AMD doing really well and taking market share in CPU and all these other players, which are still dominant revenue growers for AMD. So I believe the market is pricing AMD as an AI only company, but this can benefit its financials from other segments like the embedded market as well. So the AI growth story is a cool growth story for AMD, but it's not the only one. It's the only one Wall Street cares about, and that is why I believe Wall Street is completely wrong on AMD. Again, price sentiments can continue to seem pretty bearish, at least for the next few months. But looking at the long term of things, I think AMD is going to be really well. And I believe at these current prices, I'm going to be happy to continue to dollar cost average in my position. So let me know, what are your thoughts on AMD right now? Are you planning on buying? Are you selling this monster because it hasn't really performed much last year and you believe this year is going to be another bad performance for them? Whatever you do, let me know in the comments below. And I hope my overall quick thoughts gave you something to think about. So take care, have a good day, and see you all next time.